Good. So welcome everyone. My name is Freddi and this is Marlene. We are here in a beautiful studio of Yoga on the Move, and this is a Yin session for deep relaxation. So just take whatever you need for your practice. Make sure you have a mat, maybe a carpet would also work, 2 blocks, a blanket and a bolster. If you don't have all of these things at home, you can just take big books for your blocks. And for your bolster, you can also just take a big pillow. This would also work. Otherwise, make sure everything is close by that you need. Maybe close down the door so you will be alone for this next 60 minutes and just have some time to come back to yourself and calm down. We will start with a short meditation. So you find any upright seat, but you can also rest on the ground when you feel a bit tired and just lay down on your back, maybe using your bolster under your knees to support your lower back. Otherwise, bring your palms onto your thighs, hands resting down to ground yourself, or you lift your palms up to receive. Just see what you need right now. And then just take a moment to gently close your eyes. And just take a moment to arrive in your body, to arrive on your mat, and to arrive in this practice. And just take this first moment of the practice to feel into yourself. Feel what's present right now. What kind of sensations are in your body? What kind of feelings? And without finding any judgment or trying to change anything about that, just take a moment to acknowledge that. And see what sits with you here right now. And just take a moment to check in with your breath. Feel the movement of your chest, the movement of your belly. And also here, don't try to change anything about your breath. Just see how you breathe right now. And then take a moment to check in with your mind. Check in with your thoughts. And just observe what kind of thoughts are present right now. Which thoughts are maybe traveling with you through your day already or through the week. And also, you don't try to suppress anything that you think. Don't try to change anything about this flow of your thoughts. Just invite yourself to create a bit of space, a bit of distance, so you can observe whatever's passing your mind. And take a moment to let go of this control, of this observation, and just ask yourself, what brought you to this practice? What do you want to invite into your body, into your mind? And finding your intention. And then whenever you have found your intention, you can gently open your eyes and come back into the space. Okay. We will start with a very nice, relaxing shape, and I'm going to show different options you can find. It will be an open child's pose. And as we have all these props, it's nice to use them. So at least I would recommend to take your bolster to the center of your mat. And then you can just open your knees so the mat width apart and lay down on one cheek, maybe to the other, to see what feels better for the beginning. This would be one option. What is nice to add on here is your block. So you might want to lift your bolster a bit higher. So something like this. This will make the shape even more restorative. So you can just place again one cheek or to the other to see what feels better for you for the beginning. And the last option for those who have a bit sensitive knees is a very nice one. It's one of my favorite one actually. So you place your bolster to the center of your mat, and you might want to use either a block or a blanket at the top of your mat. So make sure it's somewhere so you can grab it. And you rest fully with your whole torso on this bolster. You can open your knees slightly so you have this kind of frog legs. And then you take either your blanket or your block as a support for your head to see how much space you need to find a good shape. So maybe something like this. And then you can also open your arms slightly to the side so you have the sense of opening. So you find your shape, the one that serves your body the most. And just take a moment to sink into your shape. Sink into this pose that you have chosen now. And whenever you feel a strong sensation or maybe pain, feel free to back off and adjust your position. Otherwise, try to commit to that shape that you have chosen. And just finding a first simple shape where you enjoy your body, where you enjoy yourself, where you find a moment to rest, where you find a moment to unwind. And especially at the beginning of the practice, we feel and hear our mind spinning, this restlessness that is hard for us to be still. But the more we focus on the body and the response of the body, especially when in relaxing shape as we're in right now, the more we can help the mind to unwind as well. We stay here for 2 more minutes, and we stay here in stillness and in silence. Try to stay present and try to stay here. And for those who are resting on one cheek, you might want to turn your head around so you find a balance in your neck for the last minute in this shape. And finding here your last deep and conscious breaths. One more time, really feel your belly moving on your bolster. Feel the sense of heaviness in your chest. And very slowly, in your own timing, find your way back out of the shape using your hands to help yourself back up. And then just taking your props to the sides and finding a moment to rest on your back. Or you stretch your legs out and bring your arms to the sides. If you like, you breathe into your nose and out through your mouth. And just allowing your body to sink into your mat. And just find a moment to rest. Keeping a sense of presence in your mind. And then slowly from here, step your feet to the center of your mat. You roll over to one side, press your upper hand into the ground, and find your way back up. Okay. From here, you want to find our next stretch, and you might want to use all of your props, so make sure they're somewhere close by so you can use them as your support. We find a forward fold while you bring first your left knee into your chest and place your left knee on top of the right. Trying to bring the right foot as close as you can to your hips to really have this nice support here of your hip resting on the ground. For me, you want to fold over the legs, and this can be for some of us very intense. So if you feel free and ready, just fold down. But if you feel like there's a strong resistance, then you might want to use your blanket and roll this under your knee. You can also just sink down if you're ready, then just find your shape. And then it's already easier to fold, but you maybe still feel strong resistance. Then you might want to use your bolster as a support for your head, something like this. You can also play a bit around with your blocks and use this maybe as a support for your head, but if you have a bolster at home, I really recommend to take the bolster for your head just because it's a bit more soft than the block. And then you will find a shape that will look something like this. And you slowly allow your head to sink down. Maybe adjusting your shape when you feel like you went too deep. And especially in this practice where we want to create a sense of relaxation, we're trying to find more softer stretches than we may be used to from yin practices. We want to find a stretch that makes us feel present, but still want to find a stretch that makes us feel at home, where we enjoy our bodies, where we enjoy ourselves. Allowing the head to drop allows us to drop the control of our mind. There's always planning, moving mind that makes it so hard for us to be present. But in yoga practice, also in the yin practice, we want to train the mind to be more connected to the here and now, using our body as our tool to one side trigger the mind, so we maybe face our patterns, the way of how we think, the way of how we feel when we come into situations which are also maybe a bit uncomfortable. But on the other side, we're using the body to create space, while we're sinking into the stretch, while we slowly let go. Also letting go of finding the perfect shape, letting go of finding the perfect angle. And then we stay here for another minute. Just you and your breath. And then find your last deep and conscious breaths. And then whenever you feel ready, you slowly help yourself back out of your shape, taking your props to the sides if you have used them, and just find your way into your back, into your resting pose. You open your arms wide, you open your legs wide, and if you like, you breathe into your nose. And out through your mouth. And again, just take that time to observe how you sink down, how you let go, how this tension is dropping into the ground, and through that, how you can create space. And taking your time to step your feet back on the ground, holding over to one side, press your upper hand into the ground, and then slowly find yourself back up. Okay. From here, you want to change sides. So this time, you bring your right knee into your chest, over to your left hip. Maybe use your blanket. If you have used it on the other side, it's probably something that feels good on this side as well. And then you just fold either with your bolster, maybe without. And the sides can feel different. Sometimes one side is way more open than the other. So when you need here more support, then feel free to use more support. When you feel you need less support, then just take the support to the side and finding the stretch that feels good on this side. In the Yin practice, we want to face a sense of discomfort, but we never want to face pain. So any sharp sensations, anything that we would feel as pain is not welcomed in this practice. And with something like this is rising up, again, feel free to back off, take your time, arrange yourself, use your props. And if the shape really doesn't work your body, then you just find a moment to rest on your back and wait till we move on. Otherwise, allowing yourself to slowly unfold in the shape. Take a moment to feel where you feel the stretch the most. It's maybe in your hamstrings, maybe at the back of your hip, maybe somewhere else. And then adding your breath into this stretch. The inhale, you want to create the space. You want to grow and lift yourself up. On the exhale, you release and sink down. Inhale to create space. And exhale to let go. And just see what's rising up into your mind. Especially when we're in shapes which are maybe a bit uncomfortable, it's very interesting to see how the mind is reacting. What kind of patterns are running through our minds when we're facing our physical boundaries. Use your breath as your anchor, and if your mind is very restless, then just count your breath. But always with this inner smile, the sense of lightness. Be kind to yourself. And then we stay here for another minute. And find your last deep and conscious breaths. And then taking your time to find your way out of the shape. And taking your props to the sides and just take a moment to rest on your back. Open your arms wide, open your legs wide, and if you like, you breathe into your nose and out through your mouth. And then just feel where there's maybe still tension, where you still feel the stretch, the movement, and where you can slowly maybe release a bit more, where you can let go a bit more. Whenever you're ready, you slowly step your feet to the center of your mat and want to stay on the ground. So you might want to use your bolster and your block, maybe even your blanket, it really depends. I like to practice this shape with a block, and you can either go on the first height, which will be this height, or you go on the second height, this is this one. Don't go on a third, it's going to be too much for your spine. So either first or second. I like to take the second height and lift my hips, take the block under my hips, like this. For some, this is a bit uncomfortable with the block as it's too hard. Then you might want to use your bolster, or you just take your blanket and place the blanket in between you and your block. So something like this. And then from here, you slowly first stretch one leg to the ground. Just see how that feels in your lower back. And then maybe the other leg also to the ground. So you really have this sense of lifting on your hips. And then from here, you bring your arms over your head. So you have this nice long stretch where you let your feet drop to the side and allowing your shoulders to rest on the ground. And this is the shape that we're in. When your lower back is unhappy now, you might want to change from the second to the first height, or maybe use your bolster when it's still too uncomfortable. And just see what you need here to find a nice lift, but we don't want to go too high. It's just about elevating the hips here slightly and finding this nice open shape, this nice long stretch of the front body. And I think this asana, this shape, really invites to travel through the body and try to release tension that we find. We're starting here with the fingertips and scanning down towards your palms, into your wrists, and try to let go. And travel through your arms, to your shoulders, from the crown of the head, through your face, and to your neck. And traveling from your chest, down your spine, into your lower back, and to your belly. Traveling into your hip and also here, trying to release your pelvic floor. We love to hold tension here. Traveling down to your legs, into your feet, into your ankles, into your toes. Just allowing your body here to fully sink into your block, into your mat. Trying to create more softness, trying to create more ease. Feel your breath moving your belly. I think this is a nice shape to really feel the breath in the belly and the chest. And also here you can invite on the inhale the mantra space. On the exhale, let go. We'll stay here for another minute. And here your last deep and conscious breath in this shape. And very slowly, first one foot on the ground and step the other one. And the lower back can feel a bit sensitive now, so you might want to engage your core here slightly when you lift your hips up. And taking your block or your bolster, whatever you have, to the side. And if you like, you can lift your heels and then slowly roll down to the ground. If you feel like your lower back is very sensitive now, you might want to walk the feet to the outside of your mat, let your knees sink together. And for those who feel fine, you can just stretch your legs back out and then open your arms to the sides. If you like, you breathe into your nose and out through your mouth. And just find your moment to rest. Find a moment to pause. And maybe more important, take a moment to feel what this release does to your body and does to your mind. And then from here, slowly step your feet back to the center of your mat. We want to find here a half happy baby. And you might want to use one block, your blanket or your bolster on the left side. So make sure you have something that will give you some support on the left side of your body. You bring your left knee into your chest and wrap your arms around. And just first bring your leg into your chest. The right foot is still on your mat, so you have the sense of support here. And for those who want to go deeper and who feel fine, you can just wrap your left hand around the left foot. And then you might feel already that you fall slightly to the side. So it's nice to have your block or your bolster close towards your hips so you don't fall too much. And when you feel fine here, then you can stretch your right leg out. So also here find different options, either with your foot on the ground or maybe just the knee into your chest. Just see where you want to go, just see what feels good in your body, and really listen to the response of your body. This is the most important in this practice, that we start to listen into ourselves and also finding an angle that we can enjoy, finding a stretch where we can still breathe, where we start to listen more to our physical self than to our mind. As the body is present, and the mind is often an illusion. And slowly releasing the tension in your hip. Slowly inviting the breath to enter this joint, enter the stretch. And also here trying to create space on the inhale and try to let go on the exhale. We find relaxation while we let go of our past, while we let go of things that are out of our control. Und ich mache es nochmal. Ja, ich habe es vergessen, was ich gesagt habe. Lol. Oh, naja, sag ich was anderes. So letting go of our past allows us to create space for the here and now. Letting go of things that are out of our control. Things we cannot change. But what we can change is bringing the mind into the here and now. Bringing the mind into the stretch that you're in right now. And so that you can find some relaxation. You can find some ease. There's nothing you have to worry. Nothing you have to plan. And just being here in the shape you're in right now. Or stay here for another minute. And taking your last deep and conscious breaths in this shape. And to get out of the shape, you first step the right foot on the ground. And then release the left foot on your mat. And also here, stretching your legs out. Bring your arms to the sides. Maybe release through the exhale, your open mouth. And just take a moment to feel into the left side of your body. So the side you just open up. You can feel a difference to the right side. And then whenever you're ready, you slowly prepare for the other side. So step your feet back on the ground, and if you like, you use your block, your blanket, or your bolster on the other side, so you have your support here as well. And then slowly bring your right knee into your chest, wrap your arms around, and just take a moment here to feel into the hip, feel where there's tightness, where there's space. And then slowly wrap the right arm around the right foot. Maybe bring your bolster or whatever you have to the side, so you have this nice support. And then from here you might want to stretch your left leg out. And again, also here, this can feel very different to the other side. So maybe you need here a bit more support, maybe you need less. Just see what you need to find a good amount of stretch. And also we often find at the beginning when we come into a shape lots of resistance, a strong reaction of the body and maybe also a strong reaction of the mind. But the more we become still, the more space we find in the body. I think often there's this moment where there's suddenly this release. Where there's suddenly this space again that we're looking for. And also something that we often forget is that the tension that we hold in the body is tension that we have created in our minds. Problems we haven't solved. Fights we haven't solved. Things that are carrying around us, that we're holding in ourselves. And the more tense or tension we find in our bodies, the more tension we also will create in our minds, as we are always spinning around from body to mind. So when we find a practice, as we do right now, and we create the space back in our bodies, we will automatically also create some more space in our minds. Letting go of the past, of this tension that we're holding in the body, will allow us to enter the present moment. We stay here for another minute. And in your last deep and conscious breaths, and same here. First you step the left foot on the ground, then the right foot on your mat. And slowly stretching your legs out. Open your arms to the sides, open your legs wide. And if you like, you breathe into your nose. And out through your mouth. And then take a moment to feel into the right side. You can feel the subtle movement, the subtle shift of energy. And maybe you can also feel the sensation that the sides are melting to each other. You can feel the sense of balance, the sense of oneness. And that's what yoga is about, to create this union again within your body, within your mind. And whenever you feel ready, you slowly step your feet back to the center of your mat and just take a moment to roll over to one side. And slowly find yourself into an upright seat. Good. We want to find a very nice and relaxing shape. It's a supportive sphinx pose, and for that you will use your bolster at the front of your mat, and you might want to use your block and your blanket as well, so just make sure they're somewhere close by. You'll find your way on your belly, and using your bolster under your chest so you have this nice lift. You open your feet so they're mat width apart, and finding a nice position for this bolster to stay. And then from here you can either use your block or your blanket or both as support for your head. I think for me the third height is good. Something like this. And you just let your arms rest on the ground. Something like this. And you might want to have to change a bit the angle of the bolster or of your block. Do it without or with your blanket. And just finding here a more restorative shape. A shape that helps us to come back into the body. Nurture the body. And I think we live in a place where we often feel like we have to be productive, we have to be energized, we have to move, we have to do things. But resting is often not on this list that we have to do. But when we want to find balance, when we want to find this inner peace, we have to find moments to allow ourselves to just become still, to help the body to recover. And listen here, trying to scan through your body, finding some tension, muscles you're still holding, maybe in your shoulders, maybe in between your eyebrows, maybe in your pelvic floor, maybe in your fingers, maybe in your toes. I'm trying to release that for a moment. While you release your head into your block. And also here, listen to the response of your body. What kind of feelings are present while you rest? What are the sensations of your body? We'll stay here for another minute. And also here, find your last deep and conscious breaths. The soothing sensation of your belly resting on the ground on your bolster. The soothing sensation of your chest resting on the ground. And very slow, in your own timing, you find your way back out of your shape. Taking your bolster to the side. And just bring one arm over your head and roll on your back. You open your legs wide, you open your arms wide, and if you like, you breathe into your nose. And out through your mouth. Can you feel the sense of lightness in your chest and your belly? Places that have maybe felt heavy before. And for our last shape, one more time you find your way back up. Just for a short moment, so we can prepare our last resting shape. And for that you will use your bolster again, place it to the center of your mat, and you might want to use a blanket depending how big your bolster is. These ones in the studio are pretty high, so you might want to use it as a support for your head. And then from here, you want to slowly roll down, trying to place your shoulder blades on your bolster and then let your head sink down. And to see where you land, you might have to double your blanket if your bolster is pretty high. Might have to move a bit around till you find this nice lift in your chest, and then you can just open either your arms or the sides into a T shape, or you slowly bring your arms over your head depending how strong you want to open up your chest. So you can bring them fully over your head, then you will have a very strong heart opening shape, or you bring them more down to the ground. This will create a bit more softness. In our heart space, in our chest, we're holding lots of tension. And finding one last shape to really create this sense of space again will help you to find a sense of inner peace. A moment where we can relax. And finding a prop under us also helps us to trust into the support that is always around us. And arriving here slowly in our last minute. Inhale to create space. Exhale to let go. Finding here one last time your deep and conscious breaths. And then from here, step your feet back on the ground, bring your arms to the sides, slowly roll over to one side. And then just taking your bolster to the side. And find yourself back onto your mat, where you open your legs wide, where you open your arms wide. Breathe into your nose and out through your mouth. Just staying here for another moment in your body, in this presence. And then from here, we slowly want to transition into our final relaxation. And as we have all these props, we want to use them also for the shavasana. So you can take your bolster and place this one under your knees. This is a nice add-on for your lower back. You can use your blocks and place one block on your belly, the other one on your chest. And then feel free to cover yourself with your blanket so you stay nice and warm. Taking here last few deep breaths. Allowing your body to fully sink down to the ground. And allowing your mind to wander. Letting go of any control. And just sink into your final relaxation. Into your shavasana. And for those who want to stay a bit long in their shavasana, just stay here resting on the ground. For those who would like to finish the practice with us, you can just deepen your breath here, Inviting some movements into your fingers, into your toes. Maybe rolling your head from side to side, or movements in your ankles, movement in your wrists. Whenever you're ready, you stretch your arms over your head and finding this nice long stretch from the fingertips into your toes. And then step your feet back on the ground and roll over to one side. Take a moment to stay here on the ground. Maybe taking this moment to thanking yourself and thanking your body for the practice. With your closed eyes, you slowly find yourself back into an upright seat. Finding here one last moment of stillness. One last moment of silence. Maybe taking this moment to come back to your intention. What brought you here? For what did you create space? If you like, you can bring your hands in prayer in front of your heart and allowing your head to sink down towards your chest. Finding a moment of gratitude. For this practice and for yourself. Whenever you're ready, you gently open your eyes and come back into the space. And so I'm thanking you for sharing your practice, also Marlene for joining this class. I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful time. And I would love to see you soon in our studio. Thank you.